So, Becky, how have you been enjoying Panama so far?
I love it. Panama is an awesome place to visit.
It sure is. We started the trip by spending, about 10 days?
In Casco Viejo, in Panama City.
And it was awesome. So much to do in Panama City. But in this segment, we're going to highlight what we consider the top three, at least our favorite top three excursions from Panama City.
Monkey Island is one of my favorites because, of course, you get to see monkeys. We booked through Viator. It's not a paid promotion. We paid about $75 a piece.
Yes.
It's about a 4-hour tour. They pick you up in a van and take you out to the
Chagres River is where it begins. It's right on the Panama Canal. So that is a great part of this particular tour. And so you speed out of Chagres River right into Gatun Lake, and you're trying to find monkeys.
Yes, and so they say that you may get to see 3 different kinds.
The white-faced monkeys were the first ones we got to see. One of the neat things, too, was how the monkey whisperer called the monkeys.
Yeah, when she first did it, I thought it was the monkeys.
Yeah, she puts her hand up to her mouth, and I thought she had kind of like a monkey call, like a duck call, but actually she does it with her hand against her mouth. And so she's calling the monkeys, and it didn't take long until those white-faced monkeys were on our boat.
Yes, and that was so cool. And a tip we have is you should definitely get in the front of the boat because that's where the monkeys come. If you're in the back of the boat, they may not come all the way back. So you'll still get to see them, but you won't get to interact with them more than likely. So. And
tip number 2, really important, take the morning tour, because I read online some people that took the afternoon tour couldn't see any monkeys because they were all fed.
Right.
So get up early and take that.
Plus it's cooler.
Yes,
it'll be much cooler if you go in the morning. But so then the next ones we saw were the tamarin monkeys. And that was my favorite because we got to see a daddy monkey with 2 babies on his back. So that was pretty cool. And we stayed there for a little bit on that island. And then the last one.
Oh, it was really cool. We went to see howler monkeys. It was hard to see the howler monkeys because they were so high up in the trees. But the boat captain would rev the boat and they would start to howl.
Yeah, and you don't want them to jump on your boat and stuff.
Yeah, and so did all 3 islands, and then it was really cool heading back to the dock area, speeding along Gatun Lake, wave jumping. The guy just made it a lot of fun.
Oh, it was tons of fun. That was one of my favorite parts, although I love the monkeys.
All right, so the first one we recommend is a day trip to Monkey Island. All right, so number 2 on our list are the San Blas Islands. Becky, what do you think about that adventure?
That was quite the trip. I loved it. It is an all-day adventure, and it costs, I think, $175 a piece, or $150.
Well, about $150, yeah.
And you start early. We got up at 4:30 in the morning, got on the bus at 5 or a van, and then we picked up more people, left Panama City by 6 a.m., and got to the place where you leave, the docks, at about 9 a.m. So we made a few stops. The views.
Oh yeah, just going across the mountains of Panama. Wow, just so beautiful. Some people don't like the ride across the mountains. I read on reviews. I loved it.
Yeah, it was adventuresome. It is bumpy, especially at the first part, and very curvy. So if you are prone to motion sickness, you might want to take something before that ride. But it was fun. I liked it.
Yeah, it was a fun
really
trip.
Cool.
So you get on the boat at the dock. You have a Kuna Indian that are your hosts, and they speed past. There are actually about 300 islands in the San Blas Islands, and the goal is to get to 3 of those in one day.
Yes, and the water is so beautiful. So many different colors of blue and green, and just as clear as can be. The boat ride was awesome.
So you get to the first island, beautiful little island, about 100 yards wide and deep. And you hang out there for, about 2 hours, snorkel, they have paddle boards.
Kayaks, they had chairs in the shade, and it was just a cute little island, a fun place to hang out, and just gorgeous, of course.
So beautiful. So we spent some time there and stopped at a sandbar on the way to the next island, and Becky and I were both hungry.
Yeah, we were glad the next stop was lunch.
And Becky had chicken, and I was a little selfish. I had lobster for an extra $20.
I could have done that too, but I wasn't as keen on it as he was.
Yeah, so we had a great lunch, and then maybe the best part of that island, besides lunch, was the shipwreck.
Yes, that was probably my favorite island of the day because it had a very shallow shipwreck that you could snorkel. Great spot if you're not an experienced snorkeler, if it's your first time snorkeling. It was so shallow, tons of fish, all kinds of stuff to see, and you could do the whole shipwreck. Like, it was all so shallow, so it was very, very cool to see. I would have liked to spend more time on that.
Which brings to mind, actually, we did the day trip, but you can spend an overnight trip there, 1 night, 2 nights, 4 nights, and it's like being on Gilligan's Island. This isn't a hotel, 5-star resort, no air conditioning, maybe limited electricity, and it's kind of a roughing it, if that was what you'd like to do. We met a couple of girls that were going to do that.
Yes,
for
from Costa
4
Rica.
nights. Yeah.
So if you are watching, comment how that went.
Yep. So went to a third island, spent about an hour there, and then we were headed back to shore, and that 3-hour journey back across the mountains, back to Panama City. Got back to our hotel about 7 p.m., and we were worn out.
Yes, it was a long but wonderful day, and we highly, highly suggest doing that.
Oh, we loved the San Blas Islands. All right, so what I think is the #1 day trip, Becky.
Of course, if you come to Panama, you got to do or go on the Panama Canal.
Yeah, of course, you have to do that, the historic and famous Panama Canal, and make sure you do the transit tour. Some tours that only are about like $75, they take you to the Miraflores Visitor Center, and you can watch these ships go in and out of the locks. But
you can do that on your own. You can just get a taxi and go out there.
You can just do that. So, but do the transit tour. We did the half tour, which was about $160, but you can do a full transit from ocean to ocean for about $200.
And it included coffee and snacks for breakfast and a really, really awesome lunch.
Of course, when you go to the Panama Canal, you got to get a Panama Canal hat.
Yes, you do.
Of course, it was made famous by Teddy Roosevelt when he visited here way back in 1906 when they were building the canal. And a fun fact about the Panama hat is
it's not made in Panama, it's made in Ecuador.
Yeah, so
it's called a Monte Cristi.
Monte Cristi is where it's made in Ecuador. So if you're going to go on the canal, get an original Monte Cristi. You can find those in Casco Viejo and other places right there in Panama City.
That way you can ride in style.
So you get up early once again, you go out to the Amador Causeway, such a beautiful area. Get on a boat and go underneath the Bridge of Americas into the Miraflores locks, and it is just an awesome adventure.
Seeing those locks open and close,
yeah.
it was really cool to see. And then just to know the history of it and that you're a part of that, it's really a cool experience.
And you get to go through a total of 3 locks, and the locks are so big. Actually, we shared the lock with 2 other boats.
Yeah.
And one boat was a container ship. It was like a huge boat.
Big.
So it was just phenomenal to see the locks. And then you get to go up on Gatun Lake, through the Culebra Cut. Of course, what is my big lesson learned there?
Well, we didn't know that after you go through the Culebra Cut, you should turn around and look back, because that's when you see exactly what the cut looks like. And so it would have been a cool shot to grab. We got a little bit of it, but not much.
Not much, but overall, going through the transit takes about 4 hours, and it is an awesome adventure. You take a bus back to the city.
Yes, it was a long day also, but the heat. Make sure to bring sunscreen, although they do have air-conditioned spots. They have shaded spots, but if you're going to be at the front of the boat to see things, you're going to be in the sun. So
those are our recommendations of the 3 day trips that you should do while you're in Panama City, Panama. #1.
Monkey Island.
Monkey Island. Of course, the San Blas Islands, such a beautiful day trip over there. And then, of course, the historic and famous.
When in Rome, you got to go to the Panama Canal.
It is so cool. So, if you put Panama on your bucket list, you need to do those top 3 day trips out of the city.